This movie is dedicated to James Horner, who was this film composer who had been making great scores since the 70s. He made the music for Titanic, which is awesome, and his score for Southpaw is one of his last ever, so I'd like to pay tribute to him as well. Rest in peace, James Horner, you will be missed. Southpaw is directed by Antoine Fuqua, written by Kurt Sutter, and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Forrest Whitaker, Una Lawrence, and Rachel McAdams. And Southpaw is about the light heavyweight champion of the world, Billy Hope, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who's this boxer who's really aggressive. He has like no anger management whatsoever, and through a series of terrible things happening to him, he loses all his money, his daughter is taken away from him, and he has to learn how to become a better person and fight his way back to the top. Now, I was excited to check out Southpaw because the movie reviewers I follow on YouTube, who I really respect, all had really good things to say about this movie. But I did check it out, and I personally don't really find it all that good. I think it suffers from a poorly developed script, though I will still admit that the boxing sequences are fantastic, and the cast here is great. And for the most part, Southpaw has really slick presentation, especially in terms of makeup and sound design. Sports movies in general are great places for sound editors and makeup artists to shine, and boxing movies in particular are the closest sports movies ever get to really becoming full-on action movies. So the makeup here is great. The makeup for the wounds that Billy Hope sustains while boxing really almost make him look like he's about to die, which is really effective. And the sound editing, every single punch here can almost be felt by the audience, so it's really good for letting the audience feel his vulnerability. And the boxing matches themselves are edited surprisingly very cleanly by John Refoa, which I think is very important when it comes to boxing, because seeing every hit matters, and seeing how many punches connect can determine the winner. So it's great to allow the audience to see that as well, so they're kind of kept in suspense, like who's gonna win. But like I said, the best thing about this movie is the cast. 50 Cent is in this movie as well, and he's surprisingly very good as his promoter, Jordan Maines. He's very believable as someone who's just in it for the business. Rachel McAdams is very impressive as well. She manages to create a full character despite her limited screen time. Una Lawrence, who is one of the original Matildas from Matilda the Musical, displays a complexity and nuance that very few child actors can even come close to having. And Forrest Whitaker as well is great. You instantly have respect for this dude when he shows up, and he has really great chemistry with Jake Gyllenhaal's character. And speaking of Gyllenhaal, he is still the reason to watch this movie. He's just so good. And it's not even because he beefed up for the role. Like, he has this volatile ferocity that complements his size very well, but even during his outbursts, they're punctuated by moments of vulnerability as well. It's great to see that kind of depth to this character. And Antoine Fuqua directs this movie almost like a documentary at points, in that he keeps things very raw and very personal despite this character being very high profile. And the boxing scenes themselves are very well directed. You really are put in the moment with them. But like I said as well, I just didn't really find this movie to be all that good. I did have a lot of problems with it. For one, I don't normally criticize cinematography, but some of Mauro Fiore's shots here are bafflingly underlit and they're too close. And I'm not even talking about the boxing scenes. I'm talking about the scenes where it's just Billy talking to his daughter. And the editing, I feel, tends to jump around too much from Billy's training to his trying to reconnect with his daughter. And because you don't spend enough time with either of these subplots, there forms a disconnect between them. It doesn't really feel like they're from the same movie. But the biggest issue for me here is the script. And it's not even that the plot is conventional. I don't think that's a valid criticism because it's subjective. But the problem here is that the script spends way too much time building up its conflicts. By the halfway mark, it still feels like you're in the introduction of the movie, and not all of these conflicts end up paying off in the end. Like, some of them are literally just shoved aside and completely forgotten, and most of the characters here are severely underwritten. There's a lot of weight between these characters, especially when they confront each other, but they never explore that dramatic tension. And everyone really is kind of like a cardboard cutout. They're just like pinned with a job description, like that's all their character is. But in the end, I'd still say that Southpaw is an okay movie. It still gives you the satisfaction that sports movies always give you of just seeing like an underdog rise to the top, which is totally fine if you're into that kind of thing. Alright, so those are my thoughts on Southpaw. Have you guys seen it? What do you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, whether you agreed with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.